You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message. I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, first-timer on Ron Siegel Radio, Abby Waddel, Keller-Williams. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Hey, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. You got to have something to celebrate. Every morning, we are in the greatest country in the world celebrating. I love this one. National Good Samaritan Day. Yeah, we can stick with that one. We don't use the other ones too much on here. National Earmuff Day. I don't know about that one. National Open an Umbrella Indoors Day.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, I don't know about that one either. I love this one. National Canine Veterans Day. Yeah, I love anybody that is serving, canine or human. We love them. But having beaten anorexia, I think I will go with Coconut Tort Day. Yeah, we'll stick with that one. That looks like a good one for us today. Moving right along, what are the markets? Come on, guys, you can stop that now. What are the markets doing? Well, now that we've got a Boeing off of our back, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 188 points today. That is a good sign. We have seen Boeing has been holding down the Dow Jones Industrial Average the last few days. But now that they got this new order, they're looking pretty good again, although we might find some problems coming up. I don't think that they're out of the woods yet, but the stock price is stable. It's up 19 cents as I speak to you, being that it is up just ever so slightly. It's not dragging the Dow Jones down like it has been. It's basically a 4-to-1. So when Boeing is down 20 points, that is 88 points toward the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So that is a big issue right there. Looking at the rates today, the 10-year Treasury, we're looking at that one, 2.62. It's up almost 1 basis point. Again, that's not enough to really matter to anybody for anything. No one's really cares about 1 basis point here or there. But I will be chatting with you in the Mortgage Minute when we get there a little later. There are some things to be very, very careful of right now when we are looking at the bond market, the Fannie Mae bonds. We've got a very interesting time horizon coming. So we'll be watching that one very closely for you. If you are working with the Siegel Lending Team or our friends over at Gold Star, probably telling everybody today, keep your finger on the button. We've been floating and watching and taking advantage of the interest rate drop recently. Well, that drop, based on just some technical issues, I think it's going to change in the next day or so. So we're going to be watching that very, very closely for you as we continue moving forward. Obviously, the big story of the day, I'm not talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We'll talk about her in a minute. She did give us some more fodder to chat about. I love licking some of the stuff that she talks about just because it is so humorous. And although if you were the CEO of Wells Fargo yesterday, you probably didn't find it to be too humorous when she's asking him, and I just, again, find it fascinating watching when people that know what they're talking about speak with her, right? Because she obviously is a little bit deficient here and there. So she asked the CEO of Wells Fargo why he would be wanting to finance taking children from parents and putting them in cages. Do you really believe? I mean, Wells Fargo's done some fascinating things, but I don't think that's one of them. And when he asked for more specifics, she couldn't give it to him. Then what about the pipeline? Now, she has a problem there because she doesn't realize there's more than one pipeline. So he asked which one she was referring to. She could not answer that question either. Is that a surprise?
Surprise, surprise.
So you just have to really find it fascinating to listen to the commentary from her. Might be wise, and I know that there's some people starting to say this now, it might be wise for her to get an idea that, you know something, maybe she ought to stay in her lane, maybe she ought to get educated before she gets out there and opens the mouth. I grew up with a saying, and I think it was attributed to Abraham Lincoln, it might go back further, but my father told me this all the time. He made the comment, you know something? Sit there and let people think you're a fool rather than opening your mouth and removing all doubt. Think about that concept. Might serve her well, but that's just my opinion. But no, the big story of the day, obviously, and it's all right here local, Newport Beach. We've got the college scandal. A lot of folks are looking at jail time. 50 arrests yesterday. Fascinating story there as well. Again, I just laugh because I know that we're going to see this one. We heard that the definition of capitalism is everybody, 10% goes to everybody, or the top 10% get every wealth, and the other 90% are all poor together. And I know that's a definition of capitalism because Ms. Ocasio-Cortez shared that with us. Does that not tie into this scandal, right? The top 10% there, they're the only ones that could afford $1.5 million to try and pay to get your child into a school. I don't know too many people that, when I know, schooling is expensive, but one of the people paid $1.5 million to get their child into the school that they want to. Fascinating story, but again, we go back, and I think that the real definition of capitalism is you get to pay for what you want or work hard to achieve things. The 10%, 90%, I think that's what's going on in Venezuela right now, but I think Ms. Cortez is busy talking, not watching the news, so she may not have that knowledge. Moving right along in the daily briefing, yes. During an interview with Breitbart in the Oval Office on Monday, President Trump revealed his administration is considering designating Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. It'll be a fascinating story. We're thinking about doing it very seriously, according to the president. In fact, we're thinking about it for a long time. It's psychological, but it's also economic. As terrorist organizations, the answer is yes, they are. Mexico, unfortunately, has lost control of the cartels, he said. They've totally lost control of the cartels. Mexico last year had 42,000 deaths or murders. Think about that, 42,000. Considered one of the most unsafe countries in the world. I better not say that around my household because my wife is always wanting to go to Mexico, and, I'm just not into it myself. Moving right along in the briefing, U.S. government program requiring asylum seekers to wait in Mexico has expanded to a second port of entry. Trump administration's program is potentially a seismic shift on how the U.S. handles the cases of immigrants seeking asylum and fleeing persecution in their homeland. So far, 240 people total have been returned to wait out their asylum cases. Amazing how much news we get for 240 million people when we're talking our country's got, 300 some million people? Amazing. And obviously now we've got the Republicans jumping on the bandwagon, saying that they are not going to support the president and they're not going to support the declaration of a state of emergency. Got the list right here. I'd like to share these names so you know who the traitors are. The senators are. Mike Lee, Chuck Grassley, Tom Tillis, Joni Ernst, Pat Toomey, Ron Johnson, Jerry Moran, Lamar Alexander, Ben Sass, Roy Blunt, Rob Portman, Todd Young, Mitt Romney, of course, Ted Cruz, and Roger Wicker. they're all basically in the same boat. What they're really saying is they don't have a problem that there is a problem on the border. They're saying the way we're going about it is not the right way to do it. I think I agree with that part. But if Congress is not going to act, doesn't the president have the duty to keep us safe? Just throwing that out there. And Nancy Pelosi, I think she's getting ready here. This is a fancy, another fascinating story. Decided to revoke the honorary office that former House Speaker Paul Ryan gave Vice President Pence on the first floor of the Capitol building. Now, I know that the Vice President didn't use it a whole lot, but it's an empty space, and taking that away, I wonder what kind of a message that is saying, especially for a speaker that barely has any control of her own caucus. Just throwing that out there for you. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we are going to be talking about senior real estate, what you need to know before the transaction, 7 things to avoid after applying for a mortgage, and what is probate. We're going to talk about that as well. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value. Refinance
that website is creditsanitizer.com.
And lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without A100, California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message. I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our good friends over at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star is the only one I know of that has the Fast Pass loan approval, saving you $10,000 to $50,000 on the purchase of your next home potentially. What is happening in the markets this morning? The Dow Jones is up 164 points as I speak to you. The S&P 500 up 24.81. U.S. Treasury, that yield is up 1 basis point. Again, that's not a whole heck of a lot, but as I share with you on a regular basis, all of that information is found on the super secret website, google.com. So why is it happening? And that's the issue that you're not going to find on those sites. Well, we're looking at what's happening this morning. We've got the Rodney Dangerfield report came out today. We call that the Rodney Dangerfield report because it is the producer price index. It gets very, very little respect. Measures inflation at the wholesale level. Widely followed report, but it gets no respect the markets, and it does not usually have an impact on trading. With that being said, the report shows us if producer costs are going up, which can turn into consumer costs going up, could turn into inflation going up. But we found out the report this morning says very similar to the CPI yesterday. It actually dropped 0.1%. Not a big problem there on the inflation area. So we're in good shape right there. We do have a 30-year bond auction coming out today. We're going to be watching that one. Now, that's more institutional. That's not your mortgage-backed securities right there. Doesn't play into that one a whole heck of a lot. But the technical issue that I was talking about a little earlier, and I'm not going to get too technical, I just want you to know that we are watching it for you, is we've had a bit of a stochastic crossover. We're getting real close to a stochastic crossover in mortgage-backed securities. And whenever we see that happen, basically what that tells us is that interest rates are going to go up. So we're watching that closely. We haven't quite got it yet, but we're very, very close. And that's why we're looking at the mortgage-backed securities. That bond is down 3 basis points right now. When that bond goes down, interest rates go up. 3 basis points, not a big deal after we had a good gain yesterday, but it is one of those issues that we need to keep an eye on. And that's why the idea here is our friends at Gold Star want to get you the best mortgage price anytime during your loan process, not just when you start it, not just when you finish it. Because, hey, interest rates could be higher when you close the loan. We want the best price anytime during that process. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. That is the Mortgage Minute, again, brought to you by friends at Gold Star. Let's chat today. We're talking, Abby Waddel is with us, Keller Williams, senior expert. I like that idea, senior expert, right? So what does that mean when you talk about does that mean you only deal with seniors?
No.
Okay.
No, but a lot of my business is with seniors and consulting with the families when a senior is, maybe their health is deteriorating, they're looking at needing to move into an assisted living facility, and we look at what all their options are.
That's a fascinating dynamic, right? Because in most real estate, we're looking at, okay, you've got, the husband, the wife, maybe if they're, or one or the other, if it's a single couple, whatever, and the real estate professionals, and then they've got their outside, as I call it, the household board of directors, their CPAs and tax planners and attorneys. Right. A lot of times when you're dealing with seniors, you've got all the kids, all the grandkids, all the spouses, and everybody's got an opinion.
Yes.
How do you balance all that?
Yeah. Well, it's tough. Some families are great. Everybody's on the same page and they get along, and then it just makes decisions in life a lot more easy. But sometimes the kids aren't all on the same page, and that can happen either before the death of a parent, or it can happen afterwards when they're dealing with the sale of the property and it's in a trust sale, and nobody's on the same page. And I've had that.
That's a whole new dynamic then, because you really have to be dealing with what is everybody's desires, right? So that's one set, and then everybody's an expert when it comes to the real estate side, right? I mean, everyone knows exactly what the property's worth.
That's right. Even if they live in New York or Memphis, they still have their opinions about what the property's worth.
And all they're waiting for is that check.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Right, I have that when I deal with the reverse mortgage folks that we're talking to, and the kids don't want it just because they don't understand it, and they think, well, I'm going to lose all of that equity. Mm-hmm. Right, and you're dealing predominantly in the South Bay?
Predominantly, yeah. I mean, I work all over Southern California, but predominantly in the South Bay is where I, have my network of people. I kind of refer to it as a team also, with estate planning attorneys and tax professionals and people in the senior in-home care business and the assisted living. We all help each other out when we have clients that need additional advice.
Which makes it, that's one of the things that I love about the real estate people that we bring on the broadcast that are doing business, in my opinion, the right way. Right? You're looking out there to be the quarterback to help that family navigate. It can be a very difficult time, it can be a very emotional time, and then you can talk about financial issues can become very significant.
Yes, exactly.
And especially like you brought up the idea of part of a family being in New York. Do they really know where the closest assisted living is?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. There's, our world has changed so much that a lot of times the kids are living all over the place. Sometimes out of the country, but most often not locally. And so they're coming back home. They're dealing with a family home that maybe somebody's owned for 40, 50 years, and there's just a lot of emotions that go with that. And trying to help mom or dad or both make decisions about where to go from here.
So when I look at your credentials, it says Certified Senior Real Estate Specialist. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, so our state of California has a designation when you're a real estate agent. You can go through coursework, and it just gives you an idea of kind of the additional coming alongside families, listening, really taking their situation and looking at it in a lot of different ways, because sometimes it's not the best decision for the family to sell the property. So you really go through a lot of training on, learning what the propositions in California will do, and will it benefit them or hurt them, and if the family's going to have to pay capital gains, maybe it's better to lease a property. So you go through some coursework, and then it's actually, the designations are one thing, but doing it is a whole different thing.
Well, and that was what I was going to ask you, because I've been a outspoken advocate that I feel that the California Bureau of Real Estate does a grave injustice to the community. They'll give a license to anybody that can basically fog a mirror.
Right.
And you have a license that says you can go out and help somebody with the biggest transaction of their life, but you really have no training. So is a course like this, is this stuff that you're really using, or is it just the legalese like I have with and I use myself as an example. I've got a real estate license. Never transacted a deal in my life. I'm not qualified to. Right? I have a license, but that doesn't mean I know how to deal the contract. Right? I know lending.
True.
So is that a course that's actually teaching you real life stuff?
It does to a certain degree. There's only so much you can teach in a course.
Right.
And then it's a matter of going out and using it. I'm a chair of a networking group, and we have senior people in the senior community in the senior care industry that come once a month to our meetings, and we have speakers, and we learn about all aspects of senior care, and it spans from reverse mortgages to health issues. We get a different speaker every month, and we have about a 3 or 4 year rotation with our speakers. So
wow,
it's a lot of topics.
So you're really out there. It's not just a name or a bunch of the alphabet at the end of your name.
Right.
It's legitimate stuff that can help people.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what's so much more important to me as a consumer advocate. I look at it and say, okay, how do we help somebody achieve what they're trying to accomplish? And knowing that at the end of the day, that either it's going to help us individually, financially, or with good karma.
Right.
Right. And either one is great to me. Right. So if you can go out and say, something, it's probably better for you to wait 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years to sell your house. Or in dealing with seniors, hey, it could be that the family might be better off not selling if somebody's, at the end of their life because of the tax consequences.
Exactly. I tell people that all the time. oftentimes it's not, and then we'll get the property, mom or dad moved out, and then we'll get the property ready to lease, and we'll do that.
So there's a different option for them once they've made that decision, but it only comes with somebody that is really looking out for their best interest.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, and that to me, that's a real big issue. And does that lend the credibility to you with the family down the road as well, when you say, hey, you know something, I don't want to sell your house for you, we need to lease it for 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, I think so, because then they know that it's all about them. It's not about, what I want for my business.
Sure.
It's the best thing for the family. So you develop a reputation, and I think people do get that feeling when they're meeting with me, and people are referring business to me that they've used me in the past.
Right. It's easy to refer somebody when you say, something. Hey, I know Abby, and she'll tell people when they shouldn't sell as much as when they should sell.
Right.
So you can trust what she has to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's a big issue from when you're looking for somebody to help you, to help your family, to help your mom or dad or loved one. Right. Look at that as a primary issue, because I'm going to suggest that you don't know what you don't know, right? None of us know that, and we need that household board of directors and somebody like this to help you. That is the information we're looking to get out to you. We're going to talk more with Abby when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. We will also chat a little bit about things to avoid after applying for a mortgage. What is probate? Ooh, do you want probate? We'll talk about that as well. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay will be available, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message. I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio, or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. NEST. Fastest way I know of getting information about properties that are going up for sale or that have just hit the market in your neighborhood. We've tested it to see what some of the other bigger brand services are getting as far as timeliness. Nest, I found, gets them on there much quicker than any of the others. The story today, things to avoid after applying for a mortgage, is our topic. So you found a home to buy, you've applied for a mortgage, undoubtedly excited about the opportunity to move in, decorate your new home, but before you make any big purchases, move any money around, or make any big life changes, talk to your loan officer. They will be able to tell you how your decision will impact your home loan. If you're dealing with one of the online services, you may have a problem here, but you need to have that conversation. I'm going to share with you things you should not do after applying for a mortgage. Some might seem obvious. I have seen every one of these happen during my decades of doing loans. Number one, don't change jobs or the way you are paid during the loan process. Yeah, if you go from a 1099 to a W-2 or vice versa, it can cause a problem. Don't deposit cash in your bank account. Cash is not a good thing when we're in the middle of a loan process. Don't go make any large purchases. No cars, no furniture, things like that while you're in this process. I had at one time somebody that was very tight on their debt-to-income ratios, decided in the middle of the process they're going to go buy a new Mercedes and a new motorhome. Does not work too well when you're in the loan process. Causes a problem. Don't co-sign on any other loans for anybody, for any reason. See, there's going to be a new credit report that's going to be run at the end of the process, just like there was at the very beginning of the process. Don't change bank accounts. Lenders need to track all your assets. Changing bank accounts can cause a problem. Don't apply for new credit. Your debt-to-income ratio could be affected with that. And don't close credit card accounts. Right? They start wondering, why is this happening? That can cause a problem. Bottom line, any blip in income, assets, or credit should be reviewed and executed in a way that ensures your home loan can still be approved. Best advice is to fully disclose and discuss your plans with your loan officer. They are not the enemy. They want to get this done for you in a timely manner. Don't work against them. Just a thought for you. That's the real-time real estate segment, again brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Continuing our conversation today, we are talking, Abby Waddel, Keller Williams is in the house. We're talking a lot senior today. A lot of senior information. There's a lot out there for seniors. And, I always love to chat about that because, unfortunately, and Abby, dealing in the senior community, you probably see this as much or more than I do, is seniors, they can all go to work for Target, right? And just put that T-shirt on because they got a big Target on them.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people think that it's so cute to all the scams go against the seniors and all the heartaches, I guess, are going against seniors. And you'd think at that time of life that they would know better, but it's kind of funny, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I noticed in my world, my parents had they were my go-to source for the answer to everything, right? And then at a certain age, all of a sudden, I became somewhat smarter, and they'd start asking me things.
Right.
Do you see that a lot as well?
I do, and there's always a tendency for the parent still to not trust or treat their children like children when they're even 50, 60 years old. So yeah, I see that all the time. There's just kind of they think that they know better, and then at a certain point when they start recognizing maybe if they're having dementia or having some issues with memory, then they start kind of trusting the kids to help them, but it takes a while. It's a big transition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier something about propositions. What are you referring to in propositions?
Yeah, so over the age of 55 you have the ability in California to sell your property one time, so the residence you've been living at, if you want to buy another house, you can keep your tax base as long as you buy something at the same price point or lower.
Okay.
And so you have the ability to do that. There was a different proposition on the November ballot that did not get passed, unfortunately. But so you're still limited to the amount of what you're selling your house for. If you sell your house and then you wait a year or two, then that bumps up to 5% per year that you can repurchase and buy something a little bit more expensive. But you only get that once, so you have to know that
Sure.
that you can transfer at one time, and you have to be pretty sure of what you want to buy.
And then that becomes another fascinating story, because you mentioned, and I followed it quite closely, the proposition that failed. And I know they're looking at bringing that back again in a little bit of a different format.
Right.
You have to weigh the idea, okay, do I want to wait to use this later, but is the law going to be the same later?
Right.
And we never know that.
We never know that. And then the other thing is what a lot of people are doing in California right now, they are not selling at all. So we've still got some limited inventory because nobody wants to sell because they're kind of stuck in their spot. They don't want to pay capital gains, perhaps, and then if they're concerned about maybe they're moving into an area that's more expensive, now they have to try to find something less expensive that may not meet their needs. So
fascinating information there, because there's so many areas that we really have to be focused on, and I love it when I have people that study the market and study their craft as opposed to just going out there. I can put a sign up.
Right.
It's not quite the same
No.
when you understand the craft and all these different issues. And I look here, you're dealing with all the household board of directors.
Yes.
Because you've got to work in concert with the estate planning people too.
Yeah, a lot of times I am. I'm dealing with the attorneys because sometimes the documents aren't even in place when I start talking to a family. They may not have even put their home in a trust. And so that's one of the
You got to go
first
back to
questions
that
I
one.
ask. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because, the last number I had, and I don't know what you're seeing nowadays, but the last number I had, 80% of the trusts, people go out and they create a trust, do just like they've been told, okay, I got my trust, but 80% of the time they have not funded them properly.
Yeah, I've heard that statistic too. And then a lot of times, if they refied a property a while back, now you don't have to take it out of the trust, but 10, 20 years ago you had to take the property out of the trust and then put it back in for a refi, and sometimes people forgot to do that, either their attorney or the individual, and so then they have to go back and do a Hegstead petition so that the property can go back into the trust. I've had that happen after somebody has passed away too.
And that can cause some serious problems, because then you have to look at, okay, did they intend to keep it out of the trust? Did they not intend it to be in the trust? And who's going to make that decision?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you've got, who wants to deal with the probate in the first place? I mean, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But the idea here is making sure that you, and again, this goes back to the whole thing, is make sure you have these conversations before it's too late.
That's
right?
exactly right.
So if you've got an aging parent, it's a difficult conversation to have, but you got to do it, right? And don't just take their word for it. I mean, how many times you had somebody say, well, my mom told me that she did this, and it wasn't done right.
Right, exactly. And so we actually, I have a speakers panel that we have in the South Bay have kind of gone to a variety of venues, and the whole the title of it was Beginning the Conversation, which was exactly that. How do you talk to your parents about things that are really important, and so that you're aware, and if there are some things to be corrected, you can do it sooner than later and not wait till disaster strikes.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? Because it is a disaster if you end up having to try and resolve the problems after the fact.
Right, it is.
Right, and you know, I've had some estate planning attorneys come on, and we really talk about the idea, because you have to change everybody's mindset that it's not a morbid conversation. It's probably one of the greatest gifts we can give our kids.
It is, and to not put them through probate.
Right, yeah.
And all the other problems that ensue as a result of that. Yeah.
Make sure that the whole estate, the affairs are in order. Where is that insurance policy? Where is that deed? Is there a mortgage? Right? Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't.
Right.
You know, where are the bank accounts held? Where are the IRAs, the 401ks, the pension? All of those things are issues. And, you know, I love the title of that class, Beginning the Conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and that's what we all kind of came up with that because there was we saw it as an issue, and a lot of us, you know, boomers we're getting to that point, and a lot of times, you know, our parents are really healthy sometimes in their 80s and 90s, and you just ignore that. You just keep kind of going through it, but then something happens, and then you wished you had that conversation.
Exactly, and you know, then you're dealing with, you know, especially if you end up with a dementia or something like that.
Right.
Right. Then you're dealing with multiple doctors and notes and conservatorships, and it becomes very, very messy. And it's not something you want. Begin that conversation, and the greatest gift from that parent. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Abby Waddel. Mm-hmm. I'm saying it right. Keller Williams. We can also talk, what is probate? We mentioned that in this segment. What is it? Do you want one? We'll talk about that as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message. I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by AskAboutReverseMortgages.com. You have a home. You can't get a reverse mortgage if you don't own a home. Got some equity in it, over 62 years of age. Well, the reverse mortgage might be the right solution for you. I never, ever say that there is a loan product. I'm not a believer that there's any bad loan products out there. I was involved with the pick-a-pay mortgages for the right person. It was the right product. Was not the right product for a lot of the people that got them. The reverse mortgage is the same way. It's not for everybody, but it does not hurt anybody to be educated. That is the issue. So the question today, what is probate? Do you want it? Well, my guess is that once you understand it, you're going to say, no, we want nothing to do with it, and it is optional, right? So everybody that dies in the state of California has an estate plan, right? You either create your own trust or you get the state creates one for you. That's called probate. It is a court-supervised process of validating the deceased person's will. If they don't have a will, guess what? The state's got one of those for you too. Do you want the judge to decide all this for you, or do you want to make those decisions yourself? So it involves identifying the person's final assets, paying last debts, distributing property to the proper heirs. And while state law ultimately determines how probate works, the process is very similar across the country. This article that I shared, and I read this for you, it's a step-by-step process. If you want the whole article, just give me a holler. I'll get it to you. But probate costs you money, and they do not care whether there is any money. So let's look at this one. We had our friends over at Meyer Law Firm on. You have a house in Southern California. It's not outrageous to say you got $1 million property, and you've got a $1 million loan or liabilities against it. Guess what? You still have to pay the state their money, even if you have no equity. Think about that. That's part of the process. The state wants theirs. They want their share of the real estate. They want their share of the 401k. They want their share of the car value. They want their share of everything. Now, go to a great estate planning attorney. If you don't know one, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with one wherever you are in the sound of my voice. Make sure you get the trust prepared for you. And make sure it is funded properly. Again, 80% of the trusts out there are not funded properly. So you went and got a trust. I got my trust. I'm all in good shape. But it wasn't funded, so guess what? You got probate. You got problems. So give me a call. Let's talk about that. Now, there are other trusts that we use, that we share information about. What about that property that you bought, 30 years ago? Mom and Dad bought it 30, 40 years ago. And we just have this going on right now, Santa Clara, California. $300,000 loan, $1.7 million property. What do you do with that? Well, if you don't want to pay that capital gains on there, talk to our friend Todd Halterman. He has a method of disinheriting the IRS. We love that terminology, disinheriting the IRS. So we can take care of that for you as well. Just give me a call at 800-306-1990. That is the Word on Wealth segment, again brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. Continuing our conversation, Abby Waddel is with us. We are chatting about senior issues today. I know I generally talk senior items on Thursdays, but I just thought I love this subject. I love helping our seniors, just because it's dealing everybody. Even though you may not be a senior, think about this concept: either you are a senior, you know a senior, you love a senior, or you want to become a senior. So it kind of fits for everybody. I don't know anybody that's. Did I miss anybody?
No, I think you got it. Yeah.
Got them all, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot that we deal with. So now, in your world of helping these seniors, Abby, how do you go from that house, and you're in the South Bay? So my mother-in-law lives out in the South Bay. She's got a real nice, probably 3,000 square foot house all by herself.
Right.
And all her kids tell her that it's too big for her, but she's comfortable there. How do you help somebody go from that property to downsizing into a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom that maybe it's 1,500 square feet?
Right. Well, you have to make sure that they want to do that,
okay,
for one. And if they want to downsize and buy something, if they're healthy enough to move into either a regular community and maybe a single level property, or something that is just a single family home somewhere that's just a smaller yard. Most people are looking for a single level at that point, because if you've got a 2-story and your bedrooms are all upstairs, then you start thinking about the fall risk and trying to prevent that from happening. So most of the people that I know are going from a 2-story to a 1-story in some capacity. So there's professionals out there, and I know several, and I refer several people that can help downsize, and they can, in a systematic way, have that person decide what to donate, what to keep, and what to trash.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things you can go through. I mean, the Marie Kondos, right? on Netflix now, I guess everybody's throwing all kinds of stuff away or donating. But
think about donating at first. I mean, our friends over at Patriots and Paws love stuff that not the trash stuff,
mm-hmm.
right? But if you're getting rid of, you've got 3 couches and you're going into a place where you can only put 1.
Yeah.
There's a veteran that can use those other 2.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I use, the Nextdoor app. I do that all the time. You can say free, and people will come happily and grab your free sofa if you want to just give it away to somebody that really needs it. So,
sure.
So there's a lot of ways now that you can kind of get rid of things without feeling like you have to. If it's not good enough shape to donate, and you don't want to trash it, there's somebody else. Somebody will pick it up.
Now we found we ended up, and I use my own family all the time on the radio program, but so we ended up putting an elevator in for my dad. Do you see that happening much?
Yeah, a lot of places don't have the ability to put in an elevator, and so we look at that option. There's also chair lifts, so
sure.
that you can kind of that takes up less space, but it doesn't always work with people's particular floor plan, or if there's a big turn in the staircase going up. So the prices on all of that has come down, and there's contractors that will help that are that just work with seniors that I know too. Not an elevator guy, but with the chair lifts and the rails in the bathroom and things like that to really help people live at home and age in place.
What do those instruments, either the chairlift or the elevator, mm-hmm. what does that do to the value of a property?
Mm-hmm. Well, the chairlift doesn't really do anything, because most of the time, once that person leaves the property, the next people are probably going to not use it. So I encourage them to try to donate it, if it's possible, and sometimes to contact the original person that put it in, because they might be able to reuse that in a home for somebody that is a senior really in need. And the elevator does help a lot for resale value.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that if it's in a multi-story home, people want to bring their groceries up or their laundry up and down. So it definitely adds value. But the chairlift, not so much.
Okay, so it is because everybody's getting older.
Yes.
Right. So maybe you're not in need of the elevator now, but. I'm not in the senior world yet, but I've got bad knees.
Yeah.
Right? So that elevator could be beneficial if it was there. I mean, I might not put it in, but it isn't a feature that I might like. So it might be something that we want to advertise.
I think so. A lot of builders are putting them in, and when you even think about it, when you're in your 50s or 60s, if you're still active, but you might have to have knee surgery, or you might have to have something where you can't really get up and down the stairs. So an elevator is always the handy thing to have.
What about when we're getting a lot of our seniors are not they might be equity rich, but they may not be cash rich.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with some of the repairs that may need to be done then? Is it something that you just have to let it go, or how are the seniors dealing with that?
Well, so, a lot of them can get a home equity line or a reverse mortgage to help with that. I find that a lot. If somebody's really cash poor and they have all that equity in their home, I refer them to, reverse mortgage people. And if their own bank tends to have, like the Wells Fargos and the Bank of Americas of the world, I've seen them with seniors limit the amount, but they can certainly give them a home equity line, and especially when the repairs are being done, if they need a new roof, things that, that cost a lot of money to put on a new roof on a house. So
the bottom line there is, once again, there's options as long as you talk to the right people.
That's right.
Right, so that's my whole point with what we're sharing this morning. Is something? Don't think that there's no options, and I'm going to suggest to you. I don't know anybody that knows all the answers. Maybe do you know anybody that knows all the answers?
No.
Right, but one of the things that I bet you do have is a phone.
Yes.
So you can find the right answers.
Exactly.
Right, we may not know everything that can come up, but don't sit there and think, well, I can't do it. My dad, may rest in peace, used to say, the worst word in the world is can't. Right? Because you can do things. It might have to go about it a different way. You might have to use a little different resources. You might have to be creative. You might have to make some phone calls. Right? You might find out that there's not a way of doing things this way, but you got to put a game plan together. All of those are out there. So my suggestion is make that phone call. If you need some help with that senior issues, call Abby. She'll be glad to help you. I volunteer your services.
Absolutely. Well, and I have a Aging Parents Real Estate. I have a Facebook page and a website, and you can actually get resources on my pages. But if they're not specific to the area you're in, I can certainly find some of the in-home care companies, and some of the resources are all over Southern California. Some of them are specific to my area, but I can certainly find people in your area. If it's a geriatric care specialist or somebody specific, I can certainly find all of that for people.
Beautiful. We'll have those links on our Facebook page. If you don't know the answers, give me a call and I'll put you in touch with Abby. 800-306-1990. And remember, as always, I ask one favor of you. Set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We will talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.